Hello and welcome to the Raw podcast brought to you by the Sunderland Echo. Today we're going to be previewing Saturday's match between Sunderland and Hull City at the MKM Stadium. So to find out more about the Tigers, we are joined by Nathaniel Whittingham from the To Hull and Back podcast. Nathaniel, how's things?
I'm very well. I just got back home just this second, and it's a bit hectic getting back into this, but I'm looking forward to talking about all things Hull City and Sunderland.
Mm-hmm. Well, Hull have played just one game since their return from the World Cup break, haven't they? Last weekend, they got a goalless draw against Watford. They're 21st in the table, and they're one of the many sides in the Championship as well that have changed managers this season. So, Nathaniel, can you just kind of give us a brief overview of how how Hull's season has gone so far?
Well, we always thought it was going to be tough because we signed about, I can't remember the exact number, but it was almost comparable to what Nottingham Forest did, signing all those players in the summer, buying players from foreign leagues, especially Turkey, because of only Turkish owners. So we thought the season would start tough and we'd get a bit better, whereas we actually won the first few matches and then we went on a very bad run, sacked Shota much earlier than we thought because he had a very good relationship with the owner, Ajin Ilijala, but Shota Arveladze got sacked. We brought in Liam Senior. We've had the World Cup month break that everyone else has had. Hopefully he's been able to train the players to defend set pieces especially and play out from the back better. Those are two things we really need to do much better, but still got a lot of players injured. We shouldn't really be as low as we are, but again, I think the second half of the season should be a whole lot better with the new manager and getting our players back fit because we've had several injury crises already this season. So hopefully Sunderland at home is the start of a better second half to the season.
Well, it's been 4 games now that Liam Senior has had in charge of Hull. Just looking at the results now, 2 goalless draws, a win and a defeat. So what's kind of been the feeling about him coming in among Hull supporters and do they think he's going to be a good appointment for the position that they're in?
Well, I think he's, of course, a Hull City legend. He was part of the club at our best moments, getting to the FA Cup final and getting promoted to the Premier League again. So we want to give him a bit of time, longer than Shota, because, he is an experienced manager. He's only managed at League One level before us with Derby as an interim this season. So hopefully the team will build along with him because he's not done this before. So he'll need some time. Hopefully it'll be a good appointment, but we don't really know yet. I think the 2 goalless draws, they may seem boring at first, but we've struggled so much to defend and keep clean sheets that actually, if we can have a few more boring results, like a 0-0, and add some goals to that, we'd be delighted because we've only had 3 clean sheets all season and 2 of them have come under him. So already that's an improvement. And hopefully we get our home form much better because the win was in Cardiff. So if you can improve the home form, keep getting some clean sheets, we'll be happy. But I think a lot of fans are expecting it to take a long time to improve and get promoted potentially.
Yeah, looking at the Championship table as well, Hull with the most goals conceded this season in the Championship with 39. So has that kind of been what Rossini's come in and tried to, first of all, just shore up that defence and start, as you say, getting some clean sheets?
Well, I suppose so. His first match was the 0-0 against Millwall. He said before the game it was a perfect opportunity to see what sort of character his players had. And we've had a clean sheet since then as well. Still quite sloppy, conceding goals from playing out from the back against Cardiff and then 2 set-piece goals against Reading, which were very poorly defended. So, as I said, hopefully over the month we've been able to get some confidence back in the defenders. And, we've not conceded in this second half yet after the World Cup, just been the 1 match, but we just need to keep that going as long as possible until we get to January where we can sign maybe a better defensive midfielder and maybe a better centre half. But shoring up the defence is definitely the the number one priority because it is the worst in the division, and I think at some points it's been the worst in the whole of England.
At the other end of the pitch, Hull do have a goal scorer in Oscar Estepinian, who came in the summer. He's got 8 goals, and I think he's back from suspension as well. I think he was serving a 3-game ban, wasn't he, for a red card? So how important is he to the side, and who are the other key players that will be important for Hull against Sunderland on Saturday?
Well, it is good to have him back from suspension. I didn't think it was, maybe it was a red card, but for him to be suspended for 3 matches was quite a shame because he was just trying to control the football, really. But I'm still not over it. He's not been as important to the team as we hoped he would. He is the second highest goal scorer in the Championship with 8. But 7 of those have come in just 3 games. So he scored a hat-trick and 2 braces early on in the season. So really, he's only got 1 in about 10 or 15 games. That's not really been his fault because he's a little bit like Haaland. Not quite as good, of course, but his skill is scoring goals and finishing in the box. It's not like Messi or Kane, where we can come deep and he's not good on the ball. He's only really a penalty box striker. And we've not been giving him the service that we hope the other players would be able to provide. So hopefully he can get on the end of some chances that we create tomorrow. But the main issue for him or whoever's been up front is that they don't get the chances to score. So if we do feed him, he will score because he showed that early on in the season, and he is a very high caliber player coming from the Portuguese division. But I think it'll probably take a bit of time with the new manager and maybe a bit of rustiness for him to get back to form. But unfortunately, he's not been, since the first few matches, he has been quite poor, really.
So aside from him, then, who are the other key players that will be important for Hull against Sunderland on Saturday?
Or so long as any of them don't get injured before then, which is quite likely. Pelkas, he just got injured for 3 months, so I guess Dokan Sinic maybe will come back in. He's one of the big money signings. We've not really seen the best of him yet, so hopefully he can play better. But the players in form, attacking wise, I suppose would be Regan Slater. We got him for 50 grand off Sheffield United. He's been a bargain and he's probably been our best player this year. And then, unfortunately, we have been quite poor at the back. So our goalkeeper, it should be Matt Ingram tomorrow. He's also been one of our best this season. So maybe Sunderland will struggle to score past him. But attacking wise, I'm not really confident in any of our players to perform. So Slater's got a lot of energy. Ingram's a good goalkeeper. But other than that, I'm not overly confident really in our players' abilities at the moment.
And how has Rossini kind of set up his side? It looks like, from what I've had kind of seen, it's 4-2-3-1. Is that kind of the formation that he's gone with? And how do you think they'll approach the game against Sunderland?
Yeah, it's basically the same formation Schotter played, but the main difference has been that, especially in his the first game I watched under Rossini away at Cardiff, we're playing out from the back a lot more. We're keeping the ball. It's slow possession. And it was quite nervy to watch, really, because we're not quite as good at it as we should be. We did concede from a sloppy mistake, but we're trying to build from the back and play forward. And it was still not really creating a lot of chances, but we're going to be playing like that. So if Sunderland are pressing, then maybe we'll struggle to get out of that. But really, I've not seen enough of him to say exactly what the methodology is, but he wants the players to be more determined, and I think under Dawson, as the Andy Dawson, the interim manager, we did play more of the players who have championship experience or experience in England, so a bit more grit and determination than under Schotter. We've seen that more recently. So, but really playing out from the back, a slower build up, and relying on the goalkeeper and being brave on the ball, and to get forward and want to be in possession. That's really what he's been trying to implement. And the month will definitely have helped with that.
Obviously, it has been a difficult start to the season, but what would you say is now the expectation at Hull? I mean, we said 21st in the table, but not many points in it. I think they were only 5 points behind Sunderland, who were in 11th. So it could easily swing with a few results. So what would you say the fans are kind of hopeful for in the second half of the season?
Well, the expectation before the season started was, a playoff push would be nice, but we're not really hoping for that. Then we had a very poor run. I predicted we'd finish 11th, and I'd be happy with that if you offered me that now. Of course, we are 21st, but I don't really think anyone's too worried about getting relegated, unlike last year, because it's the old cliche: we're too good to go down. I mean, no one is in this division, but we have spent a lot of money, so you'd hope that those players with the quality we have seen in flashes would get us away from the drop zone eventually. But I think now that we've got Rossini, who is inexperienced and is a sort of fan favourite, we want to give him time. So a top half finish from this position would be, I think, very solid. But really, we just want to see the best of our attacking players and just not be so frustrated when we lose because it's been from a set piece. So if we can stop losing games that we shouldn't lose because we've made a silly mistake, I'd be much happier.
Well, Sunderland haven't actually scored a goal from a set piece all season, so Hull might be safe from that position.
It'll be the first chance for you to do that, I think.
Yeah, well, Sunderland fans will certainly hope so. Interesting what you said as well about trying to play out from the back. Sunderland, I thought, pressed really well in the first half against West Brom on Monday. I don't know if you saw that game, but dropped off quite significantly in the second half. So if Hull are trying to play out from the back, maybe a tactic that Sunderland try and deploy again. But how do you think the game will go on Saturday? How do you think Hull will try and kind of approach the game? Will they try and dominate possession, as you said, trying to play out from the back? Is that how you think they'll play it, especially at home as well?
Well, if it's anything like the Reading match before the break, where we were at home and we had a lot of the ball, we had about 60% possession, or it felt like that. The second half, we had it for pretty much the whole half, and then we lost the game because we just didn't create enough with it. I assume we probably will be trying to keep the ball again, playing out from the back, a bit slower build up, but hopefully we do create more chances and more, because we've been brave on the ball to keep it, but we haven't really been brave to really try and score. Sometimes it's felt like a bit of possession for possession's sake, but I don't really know how it's going to go because the Watford match, we were sort of under the cosh a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how attacking we are at home. I don't really know how good Sunderland are, but it's probably a team we could beat. It's not one of the best teams in the division, so I'd like to see us win. But again, if we can find the right sort of system to get the best out of Oscar Estepinian up front, especially back from suspension, we could win. But not having seen us, play to the best of our ability yet, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but that's the hope.
Just looking at the previous meetings between the two sides, the last time they met, they were both in League One, Sunderland and Hull. There was a 1-1 draw in January 2021, and there was a 2-2 draw in April that year. Hull, of course, and then got promoted, didn't they? So what will kind of the expectation be among Hull supporters? Will they be thinking this is a game they should be winning at home to a Sunderland side that are 11th in the table, but ultimately were just promoted from League One through the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think we drew a third game in the League Cup as well that season, so it has been quite tight recently. I think the last 4 games against Sunderland might have been a draw, actually, now that I think about it. So another draw could be possible, but we don't want to get too carried away because we do have these players that have scored in European competitions or at major tournaments or, been promoted from the Premier League before. But as I said, it feels like it's a bit disjointed at the moment. We've not seen the best of our players for sort of 2 games in a row. They might have a good game and then go into their shell a bit. So, the possibility is there to sort of use that quality that high level experience that Sunderland as a newly promoted team maybe don't have. But then the thing that we have been lacking is Sunderland obviously is a team that is together getting promoted last season. That's not something we've experienced. It's been we've signed a lot of players that some fans might call mercenaries. So, that togetherness is something we don't have. So, we have the quality to win the match, but I don't really know if anyone's expecting too much, especially as we don't really know just how much we should expect from Rosinha in a short amount of time. I'm sounding like a broken record here, but he could be a very good appointment, but it's going to take a lot of time, I think.
Just looking at the last result as well, a goalless draw away at Watford on paper, probably not a bad result against a Watford side that many will fancy to go up. So from that result, does it feel like they're kind of building kind of brick by brick a little bit of momentum maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we've 3 out of 4 games Rosinha's been in charge. We've not lost, and we did go on a very bad losing run under Shota. So, but especially at home, we seem to be just crumble at home. We're better on the road, so we really need to change that round. But it is a good building block. It's a point I didn't expect us to get. So if we could get another positive result, which I think a draw wouldn't be terrible, but I'd like us to win. We could start building that momentum. As you said, the league is very tight at the moment. So it's Blackpool at home after this on Boxing Day. Those are 2 sort of winnable games against teams with potentially sort of lower budgets, perhaps. But I mean, as we've proven, having the biggest budget, because I think we spent the 3rd most in the summer, is not the best way to get promoted or finish high, because we are 21st. So I really don't know how it's going to go. But I believe in Rosinha, and I'd like to see us finally start putting some results together. But I think that's based on more just hope than any real expectation.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say you don't know how it's going to go, but we usually just finish by asking our guests just for a quick score prediction. So what are you thinking for the game on Saturday?
Well, I mean, even though we have been a little bit better defensively, I still think, especially at home, we seem to concede so many from corners and crosses. So I think Sunderland will score, but it's the first game back at the MKM after a long time, sort of feeling the Christmas spirit. So maybe we'll get 2 goals gifted to Oscar Estepinian up front. He tends to score tap-ins. So a hopeful 2-1 win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I thought Sunderland played well against West Brom on Monday for the first half. The second half was a different story, but I think if they can just find a bit more consistency kind of in kind of halves of games, even if they can kind of back up first half performances, I think they're building something pretty good there. So I think from what you're saying with Hull still trying to kind of find their feet under Rosinha, I think Sunderland might scrape a 2-1 win, but could be a tight game, but we'll see how it goes on Saturday. Nathaniel, thanks a lot for joining me on the latest episode of the Raw podcast. You can find more Sunderland content over on the SAFC section of the Sunderland Echo website, the thoughts of head coach Tony Mowbray, as well as more build-up to Saturday's game. You can also subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Just search Sunderland Echo SAFC on YouTube and press subscribe for all our latest podcasts, fan videos, press conference clips, and much more. We'll have more analysis and reaction from the game on Saturday away at Hull, as well as post-match reaction. Once again, thanks a lot for listening to the Raw podcast.